Good afternoon, US, and good evening, UK. Hope everyone's well. And tonight I've got Wayne Seaton to talk to. How you doing?
Hiya, I'm well, thanks. You?
Yeah, I haven't spoken to you for, was it the Halloween show? Christmas show? Christmas.
Oh,
Oh,
that was
yes. Christmas
Violet
one.
LeBlanc.
That was it. So you're not dressed up tonight.
No, not tonight. My makeup artist's on leave.
Oh, bless you. Nice outfit there, I must say.
That was a
She's,
little
she's
bit
a
too
stunner,
revealing.
isn't she? Oh, bless you.
Yeah, it
So
was.
I just thought we'd just have a general chat about paranormal and just see where the conversation takes us as ever, because it could end up absolutely anywhere.
Was
We've ended up chatting already about all sorts of politics. So yeah, we're doing well, aren't we?
yeah. Rather stay out of politics, to be honest,
Oh
because
yeah, we're not doing that
it's
tonight.
getting rather tedious. So we'd rather stick to the
We we,
paranormal.
we won't mention Gary Lineker now, will we? No, move on quickly.
Well, I will say one thing though. I actually did enjoy Match of the Day without all that rubbish before and after it.
I didn't watch it, because
It's a
yeah.
bit of a headache. They play the football match, and then afterwards they sit there for 20 minutes talking about who did
Yeah.
what and who should have done this and
And
what
they draw
format.
pretty pictures as well.
No,
Go,
I
look,
don't
he went
think.
there, and
Yeah, I
yeah,
just want to see the matches, get that
yeah,
going,
exactly,
and
yeah,
that's. But nah.
yeah. I never used to bother with what they had to say. Oh, it's Gary. We've been talking
Hi,
about
Gary.
Gary as well, haven't we? So
Sponsored by
Gary has
tonight.
kindly invited me and Wayne to be speakers at the Parafest at Skegness in June, and I think there's still tickets left as well.
Yeah, I think it's the day passes. I think are left, unless
Yeah,
there's
I
some
think the day
VIPs.
passes are left. So yeah, so if you want to contact East Anglia Paranormal Investigations, and then yeah, get a ticket from them. But it's going to be a wicked day, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of those places that I'd always wanted to go to, and never really much had the chance.
Yeah, I
Uh,
was the same.
a lot of it is for me. It's distance because I've got a young family and I've got a big family. It's difficult for me to drop everything and go right the way across the country to some of these great venues. And for the likes of Church Farm was something I'd always wanted to do and never really had the chance. And I'd been down the road to the old Nick Theatre at
All
Gainsborough,
right, Gainsborough. Yeah, I've never been
and
there.
I absolutely loved that place. And I've investigated there 3 times now.
I really want to go
And
there.
the last time we were there, it's such a laugh. We had so much go on activity wise, but I think it was boosted by the fun that was had there as well. The positive energy built the place up so much that straight after that, every time anybody went into a different area, something happened, and it
Awesome.
was
Yeah.
because the leader of Ghouls Aloud, who I was doing some work with and promoting me books and things with,
Oh wow.
had invited me up there, and her group were down in these prison cells. Well, before you get to these prison cells, there's a sergeant's desk, and behind the desk they've got a mannequin dummy in an old Victorian style police officer's outfit with the old style sort of top hat, police hat.
Oh yeah.
We were standing behind there with this mannequin, and we heard them coming out the cell, so we all ducked behind this counter. I put the policeman's hat on, and as they come up level with the counter, I popped up and went, hello, hello, hello. And that was it. Scared the living daylights out of Lynn Bovington, who's the boss of Ghouls Aloud. She screamed blue murder. Everybody else started creasing up laughing.
Oh wow.
And from that moment onwards, the activity was non-stop. We heard the doors closing down in the prison cells. Up in the theatre upstairs, there was shadows being seen in the stalls. I ended up going up into the light box, which is suspended above the stage.
Oh okay.
And it's awkward to get into, but you have to go up on a very rickety ladder,
Yeah, I can
get
imagine.
into this box, and there is literally only the room for one person. And I'm sitting in there and I'm like, this is quite high up. I'm overlooking the stalls and the stage. and I could feel something was in there with me. And as I came down, this box had fallen off of one of the counters inside the lighting room. And I was nowhere near it. And I'm like, okay, something's up here with me. I think I better go back down now. And of course, as I was going back down, I could still feel something was watching me as I was going back down this ladder. And upstairs in the dressing rooms, there's the spirit of a midget, dwarf, small person.
Yeah.
And they were running around inside these dressing rooms.
Oh, wow.
And they kept pushing people. And
awesome.
every time we went in this room, you would see a dress move, and then all of a sudden someone would go, oh my God, it's just pushed me. And it would literally just nudge into your side and push you out of the way. And nobody was feeling comfortable up there.
Oh, wow.
In the end, we're just like, do you know what? I think we better leave, because whatever is up here with us doesn't want us in here. And I think it would be a good idea to sort of head out.
Yeah, get you.
So we went back down into the theatre, and everybody was using that ghost tube app and going, oh, look, there's a stick figure. And I went, you do realise that stick figure is over the top of a fire extinguisher.
Yeah.
And I had to explain to them that the way the SLS works is that it will pick up anything that looks like a neck and shoulders. So things like bottles, armchairs, it will pick them up, and it will automatically assume there is a spirit there because it's found what would be human neck and shoulders.
Even wallpaper. It picks up patterns on wallpaper as well. People just don't realise, do they?
I think I would call it a pareidolia app.
Because gosh, yeah.
It's taking pareidolia and it's going, well, we can put a stick figure onto that, and boom, there it is. And yet people will still go out and buy the app. They'll pay for the pro version. And they don't realise that it will do that every time.
Yeah, that's it.
And of course, as soon as I told them, they were like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That does. Like, yeah. Really?
I think that's it with any sort of kit, with any sort of thing that you use. You've really got to check, haven't you? Yeah. Hi, Eric. It should have notified you, but it's a bit strange sometimes. But yeah, now I've used the SLS, not the app one, but the other one.
Yeah.
And I went around to somebody's house, was checking out his son's house, basically. So he sat on a bed, and he was getting really drained. And you could see, it was a bunk bed, and you could see the SLS was mapping something above, and you think, well, it's a bed. But then this guy was getting drained, and you could see him getting progressively worse as this stick figure climbed down towards him. I went over, then this stick figure started kicking me as I was getting drained. So then when you've got evidence to go with that, then it's probably captured something.
Yeah.
Probably. Not 100%, but
the thing is, is with the SLS and the Ghost Tube app and things like that.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't use the SLS apps.
The way I see it,
I don't like using that.
I don't like using technology when we're out with TB doing filming for Truth Beyond Paranormal. I don't like using apps or all of these gadgets. I prefer to go with the traditional stuff. So things like dowsing rods, trigger objects, things like that.
Yeah, that's it.
But when you do use these apps, there's a way of looking at it. So that obviously, like if it picks up a fire extinguisher, you're right, straight away, well, it's picked up the fire extinguisher. It's put the stick figure over the fire extinguisher.
That's it.
What then makes it more significant and more like evidence is if that stick figure moves away from the fire extinguisher.
That's right.
Because it will not do that. If it picks that stick figure up and it stays with that fire extinguisher, that's all it's ever going to be. But the second it moves away from it, then that's something a little bit more significant because the fire extinguisher is not moving.
That's right. And if you ask it to raise its arm, or raise your arm, put your arm down, as long as it's not going like that anyway, because it does have sort of jerky movements anyway, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I feel it's
just say raise your arm, put it down, and it does that. Then what's happening? And that's it.
And it's the same argument with the old orb situation.
Oh God,
You
yeah.
know, it's undeniable now that most orbs that we see is either going to be bugs or dust.
That's
However,
right, yeah.
there is a minimal amount, a minimal percentage where it could be paranormal. And the only way that's going to be that side of it is if it's an unusual shape, it's moving erratically, so it's
Yeah.
not moving on the wind. It's. I mean, I've seen orbs that have come in and they've literally done a U-turn instantly and gone back the other way. Now
Well, if
you
you're not
can't say,
moving, as long as you're not moving and the door's not opened or created a
yeah,
draft and there's no valid other reason for that,
it
then
was
what is it?
a live camera feed of on an investigation. So there was 4 locked off cameras, and a person was sitting at hangman's table, and it was an isolated room, table in the middle, with a hangman's noose hanging from the ceiling down towards where the table was. Someone was sitting at the table and calling out. And on the security camera footage, you see this orb come in behind him, and it's pure black, comes in behind him, up to the back of his head, and then just darts straight back out at an angle.
Gosh.
You can't say that's wind, because wind currents do not all of a sudden go the other way unless something like a fan has just been turned on.
Yeah, that's it.
And it was just at that moment, and we all said, look, something's just gone up to the back of that guy's head and shot back out again. So we've all rushed down there to see what's going on. And while we were heading down there, the hangman's noose started rocking.
Wow.
No one had touched it.
Yeah.
So we're like, well, what's is more significant.
Yeah, so that's right.
When you're using these apps and like that, you have to not just look at it at face value, but analyze it and sit and question everything that you see, because otherwise you could be led on a wild goose chase.
Yeah, I'm totally like that, because I was working a public event. So I mentioned it before. I took some photos. So, we got all the guests, lined them up for a photo. It was in a cave. I used a flash, okay? I've got my DSLR camera. I had taken flashes all night and not got a dust photo at all night.
Yeah.
Okay. So I took a photo. I took a second one. And on the third one of the guests sort of said, spirit, because there's a spirit around us, we know we'd picked up on them. We sort of said, will you step into the picture? We got a photo of a great big orb. Ouch. So, oh God, I used a flash. I roll it out automatically.
Yeah.
But we will never know.
Yeah,
I think
as well, you have to look at the conditions. Hellfire Caves is a prime example. I mean, when I was working with Most Haunted and with a couple of other groups since, we've gone to the Hellfire Caves, and one particular night we were there, I was there with Most Haunted, and we'd gone right down into the bottom. It had been raining all week up to that night. So ground saturation, all the water's starting to come through. And in that bottom of the cave, where they've got all the mannequins around the edge and a table sitting in the middle of the room, you've got all this water coming down out the ceiling.
Orb City with the
and
flash.
We're like, oh my word, it's absolutely soaking, but you're not going to get dust when it's damp.
Yeah, it's moisture, yeah.
Because obviously the static electricity, the dust would go towards whatever moisture there is around.
Yeah.
But people were taking photos and going, look what I've got. And I'm like, yeah, you got to remember, there's about 16 holes in that roof that's dripping water.
Yeah.
And all of your photos have got these orbs are all heading down
that's right.
up, whichever way around you want to look at it. And they're like, well, it's an orb. It's got to be. Or is it dust? I went, no, it's not dust or bugs this time. It's water droplets.
Yeah. And there's another classic one as well. You've got the long line right in front of the lens. The hair. You take a photo and you've got a little bit of hair in front of the lens. The flash lights it up. And it's there right in front of it. And it's massive, isn't it?
I can't remember what they called them now. There was a thing they called them. It was first actually discovered during the first Gulf War in 1990 to 91.
There's rods, isn't there?
And and that's what it was. These rods, and it first appeared in a photo that was taken on the Kuwait-Iraq border, and you see this little rod go across the screen,
Yeah, I know.
and everybody jumped on it and went, "It's paranormal. There's a spirit of someone." Blah blah blah. And it went, well, no, because if you look at it properly and you look at the video that it originally came from, you can see either individual wing beats or their legs as they're going across the screen.
I know, it's funny.
And you just think, I think sometimes people want to believe in it so much.
That's right, yeah.
That they will pick any photo or any video footage and go, "Oh, that's definitely paranormal."
Yeah.
And there's no harm in that. But the problem is if you just jump into it like that and go, "It's paranormal" straight away, you're being led on a wild goose chase.
Yeah, and like if you put it on a page, you go, "Oh, what do you think of this?" Expecting everyone to go, "Wow, that's impressive." And they go, "No, it's dust." And they go, then they'll just kick off at you and get more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thick-skinned, and I did exactly that a couple of weeks ago. My youngest daughter Tamsin had had been invited to a ballet class.
Oh,
and we're all sitting outside in the car waiting for it to come back out. And my son and my oldest son Ethan had spotted something in the sky, and he went, "Dad, what is that? Is that a drone?" And I'm trying to find it, and I'm like, "Where is it?" He said, "Just above the tree." And there was like a tree had been stumped, so it was literally right back to the tree trunk. And he goes, "It's just above that." So I'm looking, and eventually I saw it, and I went, "No, I don't think that is a drone." And he went, "Why?" I said, "Because it's not the right shape. That's only if it was the shape of a car, an estate car."
Yeah.
And it started rotating, and you could see the shape changing as it rotated.
Wow.
And I went, "I'm not sure. I haven't seen that many 2-propellered drones about. They've all been 4-propellered." Yeah. And then all of a sudden it just darted across the sky, and it must have travelled about 10, 15 miles to our left.
Yeah.
And stopped and just sat there the other way. And it had been going like this for ages, backwards and forwards, and I videoed it. And I think I took footage of it for about 5 minutes before it eventually just vanished. And we never saw it leave. It just disappeared. It didn't drop. It didn't go up. It didn't go left or right. It just vanished. So we couldn't understand it. So I sent it to Mark Manley.
Yeah.
I said, "What do you think of this?" And he's like, "Oh, that looks a bit weird." I sent it to my director of Truth Beyond Paranormal, Sam, who's a professional photographer.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And she's also used drones. And she went, "That is not a drone." She said, "If it is a drone, it's a military spec one."
Yeah.
And they won't move that fast from point A to point B. She said that's not a drone. And then the following day, it appeared in our local newspaper that somebody had seen a UFO over an industrial estate 40 miles away. When I checked on where this location was, it was in exactly the same direction as us, from where we were to where that point was, where it was seen half an hour later. 40 miles away.
Yeah.
I posted it on Facebook, and I got some people go, "Oh my word!" And then I got other people went, "Oh no, it's a drone." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "That's fine.
Yeah, that's it.
You stick with it." But there's 3 photos there. 2 of them that were from the newspaper report, and my photo. But unfortunately, my photo was a still shot of the video that I took. So I had to point people in the direction of the video so that they could get the full footage, and then they can make their mind up from that. And most of the people that saw the full footage changed their minds pretty quickly.
I was impressed, actually. And that's before you actually mentioned that it had been seen elsewhere.
Yeah.
So it was.
But it was literally it was 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock in the evening when we saw it, and 5:30 in the evening, 40 miles away in the same direction from where we were.
That's it.
And you can say, "Well, I've caught this picture and they've caught that. It look completely different to what I took."
Yeah.
But it's a little bit too much of a coincidence.
It's the timing, isn't it?
The timings and the location
and everything else.
I mean, it could have been that exact thing that this other person had taken a picture of. It was just that we were so far away, it didn't look that big.
Yeah.
So it could have been over that industrial estate at the time.
Oh, gosh, yeah, of course.
And it could have been easily 40 miles away from us. It could have been that big, but...
Yeah.
we
it's
don't
just
know and we never know. And, you know, without going towards looking at the likes of Stansted Airport's control tower
yeah,
and putting a freedom of information
of
request in,
course, yeah.
you're never going to, and even that can be so hard to get. You know, use the Freedom of Information Act and they will try and stall something chronic. They
Oh, if
always
you
do.
ever, yeah, but if you've ever had to respond to one, it's a bit of a pain.
It is because
Yeah.
they have to go through the files and they
It's
go,
always difficult information to obtain. Yeah, it's not the
they do.
easiest stuff to get hold of, you know, and then you've got to back it up with loads of stats. And, oh
Yeah.
my god, yeah,
It's,
that's how to annoy anyone, isn't it? Just send a load of those off, and like, oh my gosh, a poor person who ends up looking for them. It's like, oh no.
yeah, I mean, it's all logged on computer anyway. If a control tower gets an unidentified
Oh
object
yeah,
on radar, then they're very quick to log it and it gets put on file. So
yeah,
all you've got to do is give them a date and time, and they go, right, well, actually, we did get something on this, but then they will restrict what they tell you.
of course they do. Yeah,
They've got a habit of not telling you how fast it was traveling when it went off radar
yeah.
or how
Because
big it was.
there's a reason that they can restrict it. They come out with a
Yeah.
reason, don't they? Therefore, it's restricted, and they don't
But
video
I think
it. Send it out.
they've got big problems now because it's now getting to a stage where, because of people with mobile phones, just
Yeah,
about every pocket in the world has got a mobile phone in it.
that's right.
And it's harder to control now. Whereas before mobile phones were sort of a video standard, you could control the amount of information that was given out there.
Definitely.
Now you can't control it because everybody's got
Everyone's got it,
phone.
yeah, and like
And
the phones are ridiculous now.
we do get, you know, someone will take video footage on a mobile phone and go, oh, I could rip this to pieces and I'll stick a UFO in this and tell everybody it's a UFO landing.
Yeah.
But you can spot the fakes quite
Oh
easily.
God, yeah.
Because when you still Photoshop and you share it online, you still got a blueprint of the original photo and the photo that you've used to superimpose onto.
Yeah.
And in some cases, it can put a blurring around the outside edge.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, of course, stands out a mile. And a prime example, a couple of weeks ago, someone had put a picture of a spider on their wall in the garage. And they went, I come home to this and I moved out. And I'm like, you're having a laugh, and yeah, that's been superimposed onto that.
Oh
You
yeah.
can see the pixel edge around the
Yeah.
outside of this spider. And I'm like, you taking us for fools?
God. Because I've tried to move things on photos and trying to use your cloning to get the right colour around it or the shadows. You know, I'm not
Yeah.
good at that, but you know, I've been in a photography club and some of those are really good at it. But you've got to have a big skill set to be able to.
Well, on
make things look
the
real.
iPads, you've got something called Moldiv. And
Right.
you can do what they call free cut. So
Yeah.
you can get a background and you can go onto the free cut and then you can zoom in on it and you can actually cut around the outside edge that you need. So if it's a solid edge, which is easiest,
Yeah.
you can take that out quite easily and superimpose it onto the other photo without
Yeah.
problems. But if it's,
Photoshop as well, you could grab it quite easy.
yeah,
And pull it over.
if you've got flowing hair going out, it's a lot harder to do
Yes,
because
definitely.
obviously you've got a background coming through the hair.
Yes.
So it's not as easy to edit. And that's where me and Mark come in. We look at UFO videos and we go, oh my God, that is so fake. It is ridiculous.
Well, you just have to enlarge it, don't you, generally? And that'll show where it's screwed up.
I mean, it's like the one with what we've been facing at the moment with all these Tic Tacs that they've been mysteriously shooting out the sky. And a couple of weeks ago on the Dark Mirror radio show, I said, you know, could this be that an alien ship has come into Earth? Right, and this was just a ridiculous theory that I was coming out with. But they're coming to Earth, but anybody with an ounce of sense is not just going to land on Earth and go, hello, nanu. They're not. Anybody with an ounce of sense that's going somewhere completely different, completely alien to them, is going to want to know what's going on in that area first before they touch down and say hello. Well, so they will send probes down. And then Mark said, well, they have got force fields on them. Well, they're probes. Doesn't matter. If they're unmanned drones, they're not going to lose any life by sending a drone down. If it gets shot down, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, someone from the Pentagon pops up and says, "We think there might be a mothership in our solar system that's sending down scouts and drones." And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, I said this 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Ridiculous theory, but now all of a sudden this Pentagon general
Yeah, they've
has said
decided
that.
to
And you're like, oh my word, what's going on?
release it. Wow. It's mad though, isn't it? Andy. So Andy had a similar situation at an investigation of a local venue, rasking out and spotted what looked like a plane. All of a sudden it stopped, went off in many directions at very high speeds, and returned to its starting position several times, then vanished completely.
And this is the thing, you know, it doesn't. People look at UFOs and they'll go straight away, oh, well, that doesn't make sense. Oh, it wouldn't move like this and wouldn't move like that. And you're like, well, hang on a minute. We're talking about a being that could be possibly just 1,000 years ahead of us.
Yeah.
And things like speed, that means a lot to us.
Well, they travel
mean anything to them.
Well, they travel from where they are to here. We can't even travel that far. You know, we don't know where they live. You know, we haven't identified where they live, have we?
Exactly. So, but you know, at the moment, for us, science and physics has dictated to us to a certain point.
That's right.
But another race that may have started 1,000 years ahead of us, their science is going to be so much more advanced.
Yeah.
So they may have been able to work their way around faster than light travel. The theory is there to travel as fast as light, but the technology isn't.
Yeah.
And once the technology catches up, that's going to be a possibility. We had pulse engines, which was science fiction for ages. And now they're developing warp engines. And they reckon by 2025, I think it is, they will have a working model of one of these engines that are going to be able to get us that far. But the problem then is you need a vessel to hold that engine. And who's going to be stupid enough to want to try it? knowing what the end result could be.
I don't know, because they asked for volunteers to go to Mars, didn't they?
I'd go.
Didn't they ask for people to apply to go on a one-way trip potentially to Mars, to somewhere and go and live there?
It wouldn't be surprising.
Yeah, they did.
I'd have to have return.
They did. They kind of said, you know, will you go on this trip and live here? And you might not get back. Yeah. It was actually out there. I don't know who organised it.
I wouldn't want to go because it would be like EasyJet. It'd probably cost you nothing to go out there, but it'll cost you thousands to get back.
Yeah, they don't mention that bit. Yeah. But yeah, so imagine if you're stuck with someone you can't stand.
Yeah,
just get outside then, wouldn't you?
I mean, my name went to the moon. I was quite happy about that with the Artemis.
Yeah, that is brilliant. Tell everyone what happened. Oh wow!
I put my family's name down on the Artemis project, and
stupid enough to test fly it.
Do you know, I wouldn't mind if I was in the theory being if I was in zero gravity, so I was in outer space, then I probably would try it because obviously without gravity in an atmosphere, there isn't much restriction.
There isn't, no.
But it's a case of you're going at light speed, but the problems there with going at light speed is your navigation then becomes a problem.
Oh yeah, like gravity pulls you down, doesn't it? Well, where are you going to end up?
Let's go. Let's fire the engine up, boom, and then within a split second, you smacked into an asteroid because your navigation's not there.
Yeah, that's it.
You've got to know where you're going. You need a clear route.
Yeah.
And so technology regards to propulsion may get there, but then you need the technology with navigation to be able to get you from point A to point B.
Yeah, because recently there was a Muppet. They had this carnival and somebody got one of the jets there. Not Spitfire, but one of the Memorial flight, I think. So they were flying and some Muppet had got a drone and they took it up where this plane was.
Well, I hope he got arrested.
Oh, yeah, he did. He went to court over it. Just like, what an idiot.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, like you don't know what's around, and you know you can't avoid a drone, so you're not going to avoid an asteroid, are you?
No,
You know,
exactly.
you don't know how big things are. Like, but well, you're not going to get birds up there, are you? But
this is the situation we're
you
facing
get all
because
our space junk up there, won't you?
yeah,
All the
you
old
got
satellites you sent up there are still whizzing around.
well, you've got the thousands of satellites that we've got out there. Then you've got things like the Van Allen belt. You've got asteroid fields on the edge of the solar system. You've got other
Yeah,
planets, other moons. You know, and once you're out of our solar system, you're in unknown territory. You know there are stars out there, but you don't know about
yeah,
asteroid fields, meteor showers that could be in the area. You
yeah.
need the technology to know where that's going to be before you start driving through it.
That's it. Like, if we've got a gravitational pull, what's it like up there?
Well, we know full well that individual planets, you've got likes of Jupiter, their
Yeah,
gravitational pull on Jupiter is a hell of a lot bigger than ours.
yeah, that's it.
So you get anywhere near Jupiter, and the gravity is going to pull you offline of where you're
Yeah,
going. So you're going to end up with gravitational pull from black holes, other planets, suns, other stars. You're not going to be able to go in a straight line.
I knew the conversation tonight might go a bit off paranormal.
Well,
This is cool.
we haven't because we've
No,
talked about
it's all about
aliens.
ufology and yeah,
That's all
isn't
part of the
it?
paranormal.
Well, that
Oh, who's frozen?
I've frozen.
Oh,
Oh, hello. I think
oh,
we're
you're back.
back. Yeah, the internet's just got a bit dodgy here, so apologies for that. I may go off at any time because I've only got. Oh, it's back. It's fine. Yeah, so it cut the internet and then like warned me afterwards,
Oh,
which is
lovely.
great. So yeah,
That's nice. We're going to cut you off.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
Thanks,
all.
Talk
Oh,
Talk.
you've already cut me off.
Sponsored by Talk Talk.
Oh, we're
What can
on
you
Talk
say?
Talk. Doesn't like our mobile phones.
Oh wow, yeah. Oh dear, me and them.
Sponsored by Greg's tonight. Look.
Oh wow, that was a cute look. I dread to think. Well, I'll watch it later. Yeah. So, what are your plans then? You've got
um,
a lot coming up, aren't you, on your team?
over the next couple of weeks, yeah, quite busy. I've been I've been doing my spooky nori mugs today.
Yeah, that's it.
I've got quite a few. I've
Have
got.
you got one there? Have you got one there to show people?
Sorry, my
So,
partner
like, you
laughing
know
at something.
what? Everyone else buys mugs and they sell them. Wayne's different.
I don't buy mugs and sell them. I make them.
Wayne
So
makes them and engraves them. Look,
it's my little ghosty, and then
look
there
at
we go.
that.
And that's my latest feature, putting the ghost tail in on the Y.
Yeah. So Wayne's been working hard today.
So I've been making them today. I've also catching up on writing my latest book. Ellen's going off on one. I think she's just seen a funny video and she's in hysterics. So I do apologise to people. Go on, out you go. Get out of the studio. Go on,
Me laugh, bless her.
yeah.
Oh, way.
I'll just say
Yeah,
it's
I love
paranormal.
those mugs though. So,
But yeah, I've got to finish off my book as well. And it's bizarre. This one has taken a complete twist because I originally wrote it about 2 years ago. And I did it as a live reading on my Spookanori group.
yeah,
The only problem was I looked back at it and thought, if I'm going to release this as a book, it's too small.
yeah.
So I need to reinvent it. I need to make it longer. And so far, I've got 18 pages in, 4,700 words in, and I haven't even touched the original story. And so I'm like, okay, I haven't even got to the original story yet, and I'm already 18 pages and 4,700 words in.
Wow.
I apologise.
So I've sort of set myself up really to have a bigger book than I have any of the others.
Wow, bless you.
And this one, I think, it's. And I tried to put it without sounding rude. When I posted about it a couple of months back, I said about needing some tissues. And
Oh, okay.
couple of people got it the wrong way and thought I'd written a different sort of material than paranormal. And I had to
Oh
say, I'm
dear.
sorry, no, not that sort of tissues. I'm talking about wiping your eyes, because it's
Oh,
got
okay.
a sad ending. Well, I say a sad ending, it's got a sad beginning as well,
Oh, okay.
which in the original story I didn't do.
As long as that didn't start off with tissues and then they use tissues at the end.
Yeah, it's a case of keeping the pack of tissues handy, because you'll need it at the start and then you'll need it at the end as well.
Oh god, that's even worse.
It is a very it's a very thought-provoking story.
Yeah. Bless you.
And it's weird because a lot of the stories all the stories I've written so far have all sort of had something to do with my own experiences in.
Yeah.
So things that I've experienced either out on paranormal investigations or my everyday life
Yeah.
has ended up in one of my stories. And even people, I mean, now what I tend to do is before I write a book or start writing a book, I actually ask people if they want to be in a raffle to have their names used as a character in one of the books.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah.
And in this one, Overdue, which I'm writing now, Mark Manley and Val Goegan
Oh, wow, yeah.
are the main characters in
Oh,
this book.
fantastic.
So, providing I get their permission, which obviously they did, their
Yeah.
characters go into the book.
Because you put me in a book as well. My name was in a book. Hey?
I'm trying to remember which one it was now, but yeah.
The Christmas one, yeah.
Yes, well, that one's got to. I'm holding back on the Christmas ones because I want to release all the Christmas ghost stories that I've written. I want to release as one big compendium of books, of stories. So I'm either going to, after this one, write a load of Christmas stories to put in one book, or I'm just going to wait a couple of years until I've got enough Christmas stories written to release one, because I've got so many ideas for new stories to do that I'm running out of brain space to store them.
Oh, bless you. Yeah.
And one of them I thought of the other day, and I posted about it on my Facebook profile. I was listening to a track by John and Vangelis, and I'd never heard of this track before. It was called Horizon.
Right.
And as I was listening to it, it sort of brought back the emotions when I found out about Vangelis dying. He died, I think, just over a year ago. Mm-hmm. And I was quite upset because I followed the likes of Vangelis, Jean-Michel Jarre, Mike Oldfield. I loved their music, and it was really sad when I found out he passed. I had to sort of come out and be on my own to sort of think about everything. And hearing this one track started my brain in overtime, and all of a sudden I've come out with an idea for another spooky story, and I'm like, I've got to stop doing this because it doesn't matter what I do or where I go, I can see something and I can make a ghost story out of it.
Gosh.
And it annoys me because then I have to write it down on a piece of paper and put it into storage so that it's ready to write when I've finished the previous one.
Oh, wow.
So I'm currently onto that one. I've got an unknown location in London. Truth Beyond Paranormal are filming there on Saturday.
Awesome.
And it's an industrial estate that's got basements. And this one particular building that we're going into used to be a munitions factory until it burnt down in 1909.
Wow.
Was then rebuilt. The basement was never filled in or used. So it's still the original basement from the original munitions factory. And there's been a lot of strange things going on in there that no business wants to move into the unit that's above this basement. Ooh. So we're heading into that one. Then we're off to film at Kelvin and Hatch Nuclear Bunker on the 8th.
Ah.
And I love that place. I think it's an amazing place. And even though technically built in the 50s, you wouldn't have thought there would be spirits in there because it's late, isn't it? It's in a hill. It's 3 levels in it, built into a hillside. You wouldn't have thought it would be haunted. but the amount of times I've investigated there and something's happened, and whether it's rattling around on the in the dorm rooms, it rattles the beds and the lockers. Something's in there that likes to scare people by rattling the beds and lockers. There's a phantom toilet flushing.
Okay.
Funny that sounds. In the medical rooms, there is a medical toilet, and it's set up in there with a pipe coming out the back and going up into the ceiling. But that section where that toilet is on the far side of the bunker to the cafe. And we're all in there, and all of a sudden we heard water coming down this pipe to the back of the toilet. We lifted up the lid. There's no water in there. So we're like, well, how is that flushing? How is that flushing? And we could still hear the water going down the pipe. Someone went, that's coming from the cafe. And I went, but the cafe's on the far side. It's on the other side of the bunker.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be that, because it's only the next floor up, and the water wouldn't travel across and down and like that, because there isn't the space. And they went, well, it's got to be something. Where are the toilets? I said, the toilets are on this level outside the door. So it wouldn't be coming down this pipe still.
Yeah.
And then it flushed again. And we're like, there's no water here. Where is it coming from?
Oh, my gosh.
And everybody, there was about 9 of us. We're all listening to this water going.
Trying to find it.
Nah, this is crazy. And you wouldn't have thought it from a building. And I said to people that you've got to remember that it's not necessarily a haunting from a spirit that was on the land.
That's
and is happy about this bunker being here. So it's walking through the bunker, telling people to get out because we don't want you here. This is our land.
Could be anything.
It could have been somebody that worked there.
Yeah.
I said a spirit, if nothing untoward's happened and it didn't want to leave, it was happy where it was, or it could go to its memorable place or a place it was happiest and spend its time there. So if you've got someone that worked in that bunker, they were a caretaker or something, and they just enjoyed swanning around on their own and enjoying themselves because they were away from their wife or husband or whatever, then there's no reason why that spirit can't come back in visitation.
That's right.
In that bunker. And they'll, yeah, I suppose. And then this one person I said this to in particular, we went down to the corridor at the bottom, the very ground floor. There's a corridor that runs from the base of the bunker right the way out to a bungalow that's on the hillside. And it's quite a lengthy corridor. With the lights out, it might as well be 10 miles long, because the 100, 200 meters long that it is might as well be 100, 200 miles in the dark. And we're walking along there, and we sort of, something wasn't right. And I was feeling uneasy, and I've got a thing about picking up on things like that. If there's something negative, if there's something there full stop, I usually know about it.
Wow.
And then it would be a case of, is it negative or positive? And as we're walking along, I'm like, there is something watching us. And my friend Kevin went, he says, are you sure? I said, something's behind us. It's right back where this, I don't know whether it was a radio console, but it was full of electronic boxes with lights flashing on it.
Okay.
But then when it's closing time, the bloke shuts these up, so you can't see any lights coming out of it. And I said to him, there's something back down there behind us, is watching us. And he went, are you sure? So I said, I'm positive.
Yeah. We
turned around and we could see, I can only describe it as 2 red lights.
Wow.
And they were sort of at an angle. They weren't, they weren't square level with each other or above and below each other. Okay. They were sort of like a funny slanted angle, as if they were popping their head round the corner.
Oh, bless you.
And I went, it's down there, look. You can see it.
Oh, my gosh.
And our friend Alan, he got this camera, and this camera was huge. It was massive. It was like a 1970s BBC mobile camera. Massive. And he had this huge spotlight that went on the top of it. And he went, right, I'll film it. So he turns his camera on, turns the flash on. And as the spotlight comes on, you see this little object come flying straight towards us.
Wow.
And I went, whoa, what's that? And we all went like this. And my mate, it literally caught him on the ear.
Oh,
And
gosh.
it hit his ear. And he went, oh, he's like this. And we're like, right, okay. So we've gone looking for whatever it was.
Yeah.
And we found it in the guttering down the edges of this corridor. And it was a very sharp piece of stone. Only about
Wow.
a centimetre and a half, 2 centimetres big.
Yeah.
It wasn't that big at all, but it had sharp edges on it.
Jesus.
When he took his hand away from his ear, his hand was covered in blood.
My gosh.
Whatever it was had actually drawn blood by cutting the edge of his ear.
That's some force, though, isn't it, really?
And I said, and we were halfway down this corridor, so it must have been about, I reckon it must have been a good 70, 75 metres down this corridor.
Oh, okay.
And it was just how the fact that I'd seen these, I can only describe them as, and they were watching us around the corner, and then all of a sudden when the light came on, you just see this object hurtling towards us.
Wow.
Of course, we've gone, right, we found this object, we've gone running down the corridor to where it came from. There's nobody there. And yet, from that point where we saw it, through to the stairs that lead you up to the upper floors, all there are machine rooms. And that's it. And we'd gone through all of these rooms, and there was nobody on that bottom floor at all whatsoever.
Weird.
So
it's brilliant when you get things like that. It's
and another prime example was the Parafest. The last Parafest we were
on. that photo, because she was like, I was just walking with Mark Dudley, wasn't I?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you like bouncing up to me like Barry Guy, like, I've got a photo. But I tried to debunk it because basically there's a little. Well, you mention it. I've got a question from Bon to ask as well after. So I've marked that.
At the church farm in Skegness, you've got loads of little outbuildings. You've got the main cottage building, and behind it, you've got a hexagonal-shaped summer house that's pale blue and white, and it's always locked. And you can go up to it. There's a padlock on the door, and that day the padlock was on, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You couldn't get in it.
Me and Mark Manley had been in the house, and we'd made our way over to the summer house, and we were looking around.
A little orchard as well. It feels like there's a lot of like elementals or fae around there. It's got a lot of energy around there, hasn't it?
Yeah. And we were walking back from it, and as we did, I turned around and started taking the photos of the summer house. And then when I looked at the photos, I'm like, nah, this isn't right. So, of course, then we saw you and Mark Dudley run over. Look at this. And the photo itself, you've got the front of the summer house, and there is clearly a black shadow standing inside the summer house. There's nobody else around the summer house. There's nobody else in the picture. There is no way. I mean, I'm not that clever enough to understand photoshopping and editing of.
Well, no, you're just taking it. You know,
I'm just clever enough to know what to look for or what to not look for. And obviously, I'd only just taken the photo and straight away had shown you and Mark. So there was no way I could have edited in that quick a time.
It was awesome, and like straight away you tried to. It's the fact that you took a photo, you still at the location. Yeah. You then could go up and try and debunk it. So you with the light, it was daylight. You know, you're standing in different places to see if you could recreate it. I was actually camping there, so the next morning I went there. You know, different light. Can we recreate it? No. You know, so
it was a one-off.
Yeah, to get a photo like that is fantastic. Yeah. But then to do your nth degree and actually try and debunk it as well. Because usually you've left the venue, haven't you, when you realise? But this time, a lot of
people, they take photos or video footage, and it's not until they've got home that they start looking at it.
Oh, look at that shape.
If I take photos, I'd rather take the photo and then instantly look at the photo first.
Definitely, yeah.
Before I do anything else, simply because it's pointless taking 200 photos on a location and not looking at them until you get back home or until you've woken up the following day. Because if there is something in that area at the time and it shows up on that picture, you can stay there and take more pictures. Yeah. You've got more of a chance of catching something else by staying in the location and taking more photos after seeing
That's it.
than you would if you went home and gone, oh man, if I'd have realised, I'd have stayed in there a longer. Too late.
That's why I try and take 3. So you try and stand
Yeah.
in the same spot, which you don't. You move to a little degree as well. So you've
The
also
amount
when you're checking for differences, you've got to be aware that unless you've got a tripod and the
Yeah.
camera's actually still, you can actually move and let more light in. So you've got to take that into consideration.
Yeah, and the amount of times I've been on an investigation and you've watched people and they walk in and they go flash, flash, out they go, onto the next bit, flash, flash,
Yeah,
and then
and they've moved
all
it.
the
Yeah,
way out. And you're like, so when are you actually going to look at those pictures? Because
yeah,
if there
that's
was
right.
a full manifestation of a spirit in your photo,
Yeah,
you're
you've
not going to know
missed
until you
it.
get home.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you've got to pay whatever it was to come back and do it all over
Well,
again.
I got that in Warwick because I took 3 photos, DSLR, no flash, handheld handheld DSLR, low lighting conditions. On the third one, I got something. But the first one was like more blurred than the second and the third. The third one, I got an image better than, which was looking, you
Yeah,
know what I mean? Usually the most blurred one's the one with the image, which you think, oh yeah,
yeah.
camera shake or something. But yeah, it is amazing when you can get some evidence like that, and that was good evidence.
I
I've got
think.
a quick question
Oh, God.
from Vaughn because you've got to go soon, haven't you?
Yes, I've got the Dark Mirror radio show at 9:30.
At 9:30, so I can only
Yeah.
keep you to 9:15. And there's a question I've got to ask you from Vaughn.
Okay.
So, where is the best place in the UK to go watching for UFO activity?
To be honest, the best places to go anywhere where there isn't any light.
Cool. Yeah.
That's the biggest problem has always been, and it's been better since local councils have been turning street lights off at 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock in the morning.
They've changed them as well. They haven't got the orange lights either.
No, they're all brilliant white.
They're different, aren't they, these white ones?
But places like the Yorkshire Moors, ideal, because Yorkshire Moors is actually quite a hotbed of UFO activity, and the East
Well,
Coast.
it had the base there, didn't it? It's got filing tails up there.
And we also have, which is near to me, yes, because I love
Rendlesham.
it, is Rendlesham Forest.
Yeah,
and
that's it.
myself and Mark Manley were there. We've been there a couple of times. We filmed there for Truth Beyond Paranormal, and we did a little visit for the Dark Mirror radio show as well. And we're going to go back with Vivian Powell and Dan Winter
Awesome.
from Simply Spooky at some point.
Oh, fantastic.
And we're going to go back there. But when me and Mark were there, with TBP, we actually saw unexplained lights in the sky. We even took a photo of the so-called triangle, which we had analysed. And the weird thing was that these lights were on the corner of a triangle, on each corner. There was nothing in between those lights. So the triangle inside those lights was pure black. There was something obstructing. Wow. So it was a triangle in the sky. You could see the stars all around it. You could see stars that were sort of so much further away. And yet this black triangle, you could not see any light through it. So whatever it was a physical object in the way. But we'd seen two unexplained objects. I will say unexplained objects because
we don't know what the word. Yeah.
Really weird term. But we saw 2 objects fly over us, heading from west to east. Then we saw another one going from south to north, but it was wobbling. It was doing that as it was going. Then we saw 2 either side in north and south that were just sitting either side of the clearing where the UFOs supposedly landed. And then we had another one fly over from west to east. And then straight away, there was 2 USAF jets followed it.
Ah, nice.
We knew they were USAF jets because we checked on air traffic control websites.
Yeah, it shows you.
And it showed you. But it didn't show you what the object was in front of them. And they had flashing lights on them. This other one had a solid white light on it, and it just went straight over.
Interesting.
It's an amazing place even now. And you go back 1984, 1986, when all of that stuff was going on.
Yeah.
And then there just seemed to be nothing. But when you actually go to this place and actually sit there in the dark in that particular area, and Some artist has done the artist impression of what the guards had seen that night, and they've plopped this little thing in the clearing on the exact spot that this UFO landed.
Wow.
But there is a second spot where another UFO landed about a quarter of a mile away in a field. And this UFO spot actually had beings in that actually had a conversation with the station commander from Rendlesham.
Fantastic.
And yet you can't go in there now because it's farmland.
Mm.
And it's
isn't it?
It's a great place. And I mean, Rendlesham
Yeah.
Forest itself is amazing. And because you haven't got any street lights or anything there, there's no light pollution. So if you're there on a clear night, you're not supposed to, but you could sit on the UFO and you can just look straight up and you've got you have literally got no obstruction whatsoever from what you can see in the sky.
Is there a campsite near there?
There's a couple of campsites there. There's one just down the road from the actual landing site itself.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty cool.
Kind of thinking out loud here. As if it's got electric hookup and it's open now.
There is an official campsite down the road from there. It's probably about 1.5 miles, 2 miles down the road.
Yeah, I'll have a look. Yeah.
So it's all within the forest area.
Yeah.
Yes, there are. Gary's right there. It's not only just Gary said there's not only known for UFOs, there are plenty of spirits wandering around. Yes.
That's interesting. Why the spirits as well? But then you get volcanic chase,
Yeah.
That's only for UFOs. It's known for the black-eyed children, spirits, and everything.
Well, you've got to remember you've got Sutton, who's nearby.
Oh gosh, yeah, exactly.
So you've got Saxon burial site. You better not have Saxons.
Yeah,
and they're around somewhere.
Won't be a date night. I'll be on my own, mate.
No, you never know. You never know. I might come up and meet you up there. Go around looking for UFOs together.
I don't know where I'm going in a couple of weeks, to be fair. So we'll see. I think it might be a bit too far and cold. I need your electric hookup this time of year.
I think snowy. I think everybody else has been getting the snow except for us. We keep getting rain.
I've not really got any here. I was in Nottingham the other day when it was hitting everywhere, and as soon as I left the city, it was actually a minute out of the city. It was there, but my home was clear. But down the road, it had sort of arrived. So
I think we woke up one morning just having a little dusting of snow, and within an hour, it all melted. We've had nothing but rain since. So
it didn't really try here, but I want to thank you for joining us anyway.
No problem.
So you're going to do the Dark Mirror show. I'll share it onto my group Paranormal Path so you can find it. That's at past. So look out for Spooky Nori books on Amazon.
Yep. I sell them through Amazon and I sell them directly as well. When I sell them directly, they're also signed and you get a free Spooky Nori bookmark with them as well.
Yeah, awesome.
To keep your place.
So that's just to contact you directly then?
Yeah. If they want a signed copy, I do a bit of a deal as well. If all 4 books are brought at the same time, I do a bit of a discount on them as well.
Yeah, and the great books. But thanks everyone. They are, I've got them, But thanks so much anyway. And
no problem.
I hope everyone's well and look after yourselves, okay? And we've got spring coming and we've got warmer weather and yay, finally. Light nights. US have already moved their clocks. We've got another 2 weeks. Not fair, is it? I want to move now. Yeah, I want to sort this out. Oh yeah.
I will say though, if you do buy them off of Amazon, please leave a review on Amazon because obviously that helps me with Amazon.
Yeah, that's it.
Because I had to okay my the tax for the state side of Amazon.
Ouch.
Because I sell through Amazon, it gets sold in the States as well. So I have to okay my ITS form And they sent it through the other day and said, "Can you confirm all of this?" And I had a look through. I'm like, "Yeah, I can confirm it." Okay, and that was it. I'm like, "I'm a US taxpayer. Wow."
Oh my gosh, because I'll have to look at that because I aim to get my book out this year.
Yeah.
Very soon actually. I'm going to try and get it out by the time I meet you.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well, all I can say is it depends on how many units you sell. Just like over here, if you sell enough
Well, I
units,
ain't going to
then
sell enough to be taxed on. To be fair,
I wasn't.
you know
Yeah,
what? I'd just be happy to publish something just to say that I'm an author.
that's
And
the way
if
I
people
look at it.
like it, that'd be quite weird.
Yeah,
But, it'd be lovely. But yeah, it's
how
just,
I look at it. I write my books and I use the self-publishing tool through Amazon, and I'm quite happy. If one person just buys the book and they enjoy it,
yeah,
then that's me done. I'm not bothered about whether they hit the big time or,
yeah, that's
as
it.
someone's quoted, "I've never read anything this good since Ray Bradbury," or "Wayne's the next Stephen King," which has been quoted. And I'm
Oh,
like, no,
good.
you can't even put me on the same par as Stephen
But
King or Ray
that's
Bradbury.
nice. That's brilliant comment.
It's a nice comment, but I don't
Yeah,
see myself like that. So I'm just happy just writing some random story, publishing it. If people
seriously.
read it and they enjoy it, then that's brilliant. It's case closed. I would normally have said job done, but I keep doing that. I go, "Oh, when that's finished, that's job done," and I'm like, "Oh, hang on, that's my fourth book. I can't keep saying that now."
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? But yeah, but thanks everyone. Look after
Yeah,
yourselves. Wayne is on at Dark Mirror Show at 9:30 even. But yeah, and they'll be having a natter about something once Wayne and Mark get going. I could be on all night. But yeah, okay
it
then.
doesn't
Take
bother me.
care, everyone, and good night. Stay safe. Bye.
Bye all.
Bye.